Hello, everyone. Welcome back to what the heck is this? TRI's Crypto Countdown, also known as TRI's Top 100 Crypto Review, episode 20. Gee whiz, we've been doing this a while. Actually, it was kind of funny. We were joking with the crew just earlier. We started these broadcasts literally right at the bottom of the market. And we've just been marching our way higher here, so I suppose we can't stop these broadcasts or the bull market ends. We're in for the long haul, boys. Anyway, welcome back to the Frivolity. No idea if anybody's even going to be watching or not, but always fun to hang out with you guys on Wednesday evenings and talk crypto here. I got my two of the three musketeers here tonight. We've got Nick. Hello, Nick. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm good. Ready to talk some crypto.
Awesome. And we've got Ben. Ben coming from the great state of Florida, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, there he is. Oh, you're very quiet. I don't know whether you're far away from the microphone or not, but you're very quiet.
Is that better?
Oh, there you are. Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hey, there's Rocker. Everybody give the Rocker salute. Woo! I don't know whether you guys probably weren't around the site during Rocker's salute days. But we used to go over to Rocker just said woohoo in the lounge. We used to go over to Top Step, my old prop firm, and we used to sit and listen to John Hoagland. And actually, I suppose now you have a greater appreciation for Hoag and Hoagland. When I say that, Nick, you probably learned about Mr. Hoagland. And our challenge in the mornings was to get Johnny Hoagland to give the Rocker salute. And he would go like this, right? And he's a total like 67-year-old white guy, right? So it's like total Rocker. It's just adorable. It's so cute. We really had a lot of fun with Hoag. And then Kiran started his day trading program with Daniele, and we haven't been back since. And I'm sure Top Step's going, hey, where did all those guys go? Anyway, I digress. We're here tonight to talk crypto! Crypto. Tastes great. Crypto. Can't wait. Good to see, Nick. You are over on the YouTube page. I think you're there with me. I think we are the two of the three people there.
Always. Adam's here.
Oh, Adam's here? Hey, there's Adam. Hey. So we can just shoot the shit. And there's Rocker. Rocker salute. Way to go, dude. We can just shoot the shit tonight. Talk whatever you want. We don't have Derek here tonight. If I understand correctly, he's MIA. I suppose we can start off with accolades. Who called the market correctly? What have we done here? We're down a couple $100, or is that no? Actually, I guess
we're up 18. If you look at the left one column there, that's the net difference for the week. So we were up 1,800 from last week.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, I'm not quite sure. I don't think we ever really defined the brackets, but Brian was kind of thinking sideways. Nick was thinking a bit lower. I think Nick was doing a hedge, though, if I understand correctly. Derek, we won't hold his toes to the fire. Ben, I think you got stopped out here this week. I don't know. I mean, I guess, what would you consider you were thinking that? What did you think we would do? Maybe up to 70,000 or something? Did we trade up to 70,000 earlier in the week? Did we get that?
We were at 69,000 this morning.
We were, weren't we?
Yeah, after the inflation numbers came out.
Yeah, the market really fell out of bed there through the day. Eh?
Yeah.
So, interesting enough. So Ben actually probably was the rightest of all of us, except the market really came off here later on today. And actually, it'd be interesting if do you guys own any Litecoin? Notice Litecoin's just going crazy these days.
Yeah, I don't own any. I always feel weird when some of the dinosaurs are moving, like Doge is moving recently, Litecoin's moving, like some of the other older coins, and I'm like, I don't know why, but they went crazy right before in May, right before the dump too.
Yeah, maybe the last we always say the something always rises last. But I have to try and refrain from swearing so much, so I won't fill that in. Use your imagination, especially in the stock market. You always have, In fact, actually, we've noticed some of these little cryptocurrency stocks, like that little Aqua. I don't know whether do you guys play the stock market at all? But
just a little bit. I do some little old lady in my 401 or my Roth IRA, but that's it.
Yeah, a couple of little crypto stocks have really done well. But, hell, we had one crypto stock that we bought at like 35-40 cents last year, and I was selling some stock here last week at $76 a share. Couldn't believe it. So I suppose crazy things happen in these bull markets. All right, so I guess our winner technically here then is Ben. So way to go, Ben. You killer stock market crypto Bitcoin picker, directioner, caller guy. Way to go. I suppose we could. Wait, should we make our grand predictions at the end of the end of the show tonight? Is that? I think that worked well last week, didn't it?
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah,
right.
Sounds good to me.
Now, what the hell do you think we should talk about now? I mean, we did sort of an overview. We did talk about a few names that treated us that we thought would do well. I think Luna treated a lot of us really well at TRI through the summer. I know you guys. Actually, it was interesting. Shane and Andrew actually went and bought a whole bunch of that time. And they've been... they sort of have me as a bit of a silent partner. So I'm riding the time, and that's Danny, right? Our buddy from Magic Internet Money guy.
Yep. Spell, Time, Ice, Mim. Those are all Danny's projects.
And then Sjord, he's we pointed him towards Luna. And so he's all in the Luna network. And, of course, Julian's having a blast. I think, I don't know, did you guys watch him yesterday? He was, I think
with the NFT stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, he's buying planets and, I don't know, some other crazy stuff. He's having a fun. You know what's most important is I see he has a smile on his face. So he's enjoying himself. He's living the dream. So, way to go. Are you guys doing any of the NFT kind of stuff?
I've farmed some, so like I've staked some coins and been able to get some currency that I could buy NFTs with. But other than that, it's going to be a play that I want to buy them up in the depths of the crypto winter when they're worth nothing.
All right.
I do think next cycle is going to be predominantly run by like gaming and metaverse and that type of stuff. So I think NFTs will be huge next cycle, but I don't want to buy them when they're all hyped up right now.
All right, cool. What did you guys think of? I think it was last Thursday. Did you guys get a chance to watch that daily brief with Julian? He brought on a couple of. There's like a new video game.
Yeah, the card game. I forget, like Deviants or something. I forget what it's called.
Deviants. I think that's what it was called. Deviants. Is that right? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds alright. Yeah, I didn't catch it. I have to go back and watch it, but I remember seeing it in the lounge.
Yeah, I know. Well, I definitely know Julian's super excited. I even went on their Discord and I'm like, I am from Zagreb. I do not know NFT. Can I have help? And everybody just laughs at me, right? So they go, okay, boomer. Pat me on that. Did you ever see Benny Hill? I don't know if you guys know who Benny Hill is, and he used to have the old guy, and he used to always pat him on the head and send him on his way. That's the way Sjord is with me. He pats me on the head. Okay, boomer, off you go.
I do think that use case, like a card-based game, like a Magic the Gathering, like a Pokemon card game, like all of those types of games, those could be just the most perfect use case for crypto and NFTs and gaming.
Sure. Yeah, like, one coin that I always have this funny love-hate relationship with Ubik. But one coin that was on their network was a coin called Geo, and it was geocaching, which I always thought was such a fantastic idea. But that would play so well into like Pokemon Go and all that kind of stuff, and they could totally do all of that right off the blockchain. It just won't get going. It drives you crazy. So, but you can't push a chain, right? They're just, I mean, if anything, it's almost, it's a great commentary on the capitalist experience, watching these little stories try and flourish and stuff. And Shark Toshi over there dancing with... what? I can never remember her name.
Paris Hilton.
Thank you. On Decentral. You already knew that was coming, actually. Actually, there was somebody who asked whether you could. What the heck was that? Maybe. I have to think about that. We have a job for you, Nick. I can't remember. Somebody asked me. I have to think about that. All right. Anyway. Another topic for another day. Okay, so what the hell are we gonna look at here tonight? Wait, is there flavors du jour? I mean, what I do see is most of the audience are our OGs. So, like, yeah, we got an hour and a half or so to talk crypto and look at some charts and shit. Like, what do you think we should do with this time?
I might throw out a little idea here.
All right.
I noticed it's probably more of a stock idea, but I saw a pretty big movement on SOS this morning.
SOS
it dumped pretty hard, but and then also I noticed Coin also took a little bit of a
I heard that, and actually it makes perfect sense. The coin move, it makes perfect sense. I'm not quite sure about SOS. I can't remember. I have to remind me of the story here. I said it sounds familiar. I just forgot the story.
Right.
Is that a stock? Oh, is that it there? Boosh.
Yeah.
SOS Limited, Technology Services, Internet Software Services.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's if that's legit and it dumped into those levels, I might even be hunting for a buy. But I don't know what the fundamental story is. It sounds familiar. I just can't remember what.
Yeah, it is a Bitcoin Ethereum play. I can't remember 100%. What they do.
Obviously, with it moving as much as there's probably a little bit. There's must be some news going on here. So let's see what we got here. Pricing of $90 million registered direct offering. Oh, is this like a Chinese company or something like that?
I think it might be.
Construction of North American Supercomputer and Hosting Center. That's always going to make people happy. Lease of office in Manhattan as its North American headquarters. Did we talk about this in our meeting last night? Any of you guys over on YouTube, were you in the TRI-SOF meeting last night? Sounds familiar. This feels like deja vu.
I remember it being one of the SOF names a while back. I don't know in recent days.
Oh yeah, China. Oh yeah, somebody asked me about this. Was it? It was in the broiler chickens video. I think actually somebody asked me about this yesterday.
Okay.
No. Oh, now I remember. So on Wednesday I have class. So somebody asked me in class today, a level 3er asked me about this in class and said that, gee whiz, this kind of looks like a value stock, but can you trust anything that they're actually telling you? And frankly speaking, I don't know. I honestly don't know if you can trust them. I think that the story right at the moment in China is very tenuous.
With Evergrande, that whole narrative.
Right. Do any of these companies actually have any money left? So it's kind of interesting that these guys were scrambling to do a financing. And it was interesting to see, right? Theoretically, they did the financing at $1.75 a share. But the only problem is this is funny because it's like I said, we talked about this in in class today because I actually showed them an example of, and Derek just did this. It's funny Derek's not here today, but this perfect world. PWRD. I think I might have been. Anyway, this is a really good example of an option strategy that we did. But it was fascinating story about how Chinese stocks can really fuck you over. So, I mean, and no, my apologies for the terrible language, but this company, it went through a major restructuring. I'd have to show you the whole backstory, and if you can get to level 3, we walk through it. But as you can see, shortly, I mean, the stock was taken down to ridiculously low valuation levels. But then, just out of nowhere, they just squeezed out all non-Chinese investors, and gave them a low ball offer. Said, you either take, like 50 cents on the dollar for your stock, or go fuck yourself. I mean, literally, that's what they said. And so, foreign investors were just totally frozen out. This is one major reason why I never recommend buying Chinese stocks. Or anything investing in China, which is, of course, going to earn me downvotes and all that kind of shit. But this is actually a really, really good lesson, PWRD, if you want to study up like the Chinese squeeze. And so that's the number one thing that jumped out at me was when I read this morning. They're doing this 90 million share registered direct offering for American depository receipts. We all know about the Americans sort of, we're not so good, feeling so good about Chinese stocks anymore. And so my wonder is, why is there this massive cash grab now? And I thought it was interesting that they did the deal at $1.75. And the market is so skittish right now that, it closed at $1.46. So the market, like the people who are taking down this deal right now are going, oh fuck, what did we just do? They're already underwater by 2 bits. And who knows if the market's going to support this. I mean, you look at the chart, and if everything is If we weren't in sort of this crazy-ass crisis situation right now, you'd probably look at something like that and go, well, if these guys, 89% owned by insiders, 189 million shares out, that's another thing that really bothers me. 189 million shares out. What's my magic number? You just took the level 1 course. How many shares out do I want to see?
Oh man, put me on the spot.
Busted.
My head's so
think roughly Bitcoin-ish.
Yeah, I mean, this is the number one selling feature of why I love Bitcoin so much. And it's the number one, this is probably the number one reason why Bitcoin has done as well as it has. So, good question there, Nick. So, put your thinking cap on here. Think Bitcoin. What's that magic number that Brian needs to see?
Well, Bitcoin's 21 million, so
probably
20
somewhere
20
around
million?
there, right?
Oh man.
Okay, I'll make it even easier for you. What is William O'Neill's preferred shares outstanding for stocks that meet his screening criteria? Taught in the level 1 program. Uh-oh.
Crickets.
Busted. This is, by the way,
brain.
people watching on YouTube later on going, what the hell is he talking about? What we're talking about is this category right here where it says shares outstanding. And like we said, with Bitcoin, same thing. Magic number, do yourself a favor, 20 to 30 million. It is the magic number anytime you ever see 20 to 30 million, you buy it. So this guy's sitting at 189 million shares out. Is that a little heavy?
Yes.
Anyone?
Very, very, very heavy.
Okay, and then they just did a financing for 90 million units, so or 90 million dollars. That means the company has agreed to sell 51.5 million ADSs. So there was 189 million, and now that number goes up to plus another 50 million. We're starting to get into numbers that make me nauseous. So there's something really fishy about this. Really, really fishy. It just doesn't smell right. And they always, I mean, look at this. This is kind of odd. Why would these guys have a general stock recommendation? You see, 1 is equal to a buy, 5 is equal to a sell. And these guys are giving this thing a 5. How often do you ever see places say this is an outright sell? I mean, you don't see that very often. So there's something really stinky going on about this thing. That's just the way I would look at it. And probably the easiest thing for you to do, Ben, is just do you see weekly W's? The interesting thing is back here, you can start to see weekly W's. Okay, maybe it's worthy investing. And I mean, maybe here, this big honking breakout. But here, I mean, this is just a grind. This is why it's so important to see those weekly W's. There ain't no weekly W's anywhere in sight here, right? So, I remember somebody in class asked about this today. I mean, it's an interesting location, but when I start sort of kicking the tires, something doesn't smell right. And I thought this was really interesting. You scroll down here. What do we see? Shareholders with losses, excesses, please SOS class action. SOS lawsuit. The law offices of Vincent Wong here notify investors of class action lawsuit. I mean, do you see the theme that's building here? Final deadline tomorrow. The Shaw law firm reminds investors of class action lawsuits. These guys got a bit of problems. I mean, I don't know what the story is here, but I think there's probably better places for us to fry some fish, That's my take on this thing. I'd say it's not worth it. Just leave it alone for now. The coin story is slightly different. I think, first and foremost, I definitely think that the whole damn Bitcoin market rallied in the spring into that IPO event. But interesting, they're going to now be, of course, reporting quarterly earnings. And, you remember, and, this would be a really good lesson even just for you guys just so far. How were people feeling back here when we started this broadcast back when we were around $30,000? A lot of people were kind of angry at fucking people like Alan and stuff for kind of screwing around with crypto, right? And, remember that companies report earnings on a quarterly basis, and it's usually delayed. So if they're reporting now, then at the absolute best, these are numbers from 3-4 months ago, right? 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, then we hit sort of a reporting deadline. They put all the numbers together. Here's our quarterly report from the previous quarter. So in essence, Coinbase just reported their quarterly earnings from this. What's been this sort of orgy sentiment within the publicly traded, Doge kind of crypto community and things like, even Bitcoin itself? Has it been over the top, insane orgy, spend tons of money frivolously, FOMO chasing cryptocurrencies, and everybody's going to get rich making Lambos? I haven't really felt like that. Have you?
No.
People in DeFi, they're having a lot of fun. Danny, he's killing it. People that are off these exchanges and stuff and on the fringes, I would say DeFi is the fringe, right? Sort of the cutting edge. They're having fun, but the classic, in fact, I kind of talk about it on the site, the shit coins, excuse my French, they're just not really doing much. These things down here, I mean, this has just been almost kind of like a waste of time, this CRW. Boring. I mean, nothing's going on here. And you cannot make big commissions trading this kind of stuff through this. This is just boring. So I kind of understand that the coin had a bad day and a bad report, because they just reported probably well, I would say, seasonally, maybe this isn't normal. I think maybe seasonally the worst quarter is probably fourth quarter. But that summer quarter and that trough, it makes sense that their earnings were kind of soft. Also, too, actually, if you look at this chart, it's fascinating. What we need is Derek here. But do you see anything that maybe you've learned about on the site, just looking at this chart, that maybe you never thought about previously, knowing me? Can you see any kind of letter of the alphabet that's kind of staring you in the face? I don't know. Either of you?
You mean the enormous weekly W?
I mean, hopefully those kind of things kind of jump out at you now. I mean, I'd be curious to see how this funny story plays out. But I almost get the impression that I think that we're going to ramp up here into the fall, and I think you'd probably see sequentially their earnings reports are going to be better than they were in the summer. Because the summer they were kind of taking into account that kind of shitty sort of late spring, Allen did what he did and all that nonsense. And then the Coinbase IPO, ironically enough, the whole market kind of went into the toilet here, right? So these earnings that they're reporting here are actually from all of this down in here. And altcoins not really doing a hell of a lot. Also, too, it'd be interesting to see what the pace of the Coinbase listings is. Because when the market's really hot, they're listing new of these coins and they're pumping like crazy almost constantly, eh? I haven't really heard a huge tsunami. I think there was one or two that pumped recently. Actually, those are stocks. Can't remember just off the top of my head, but I seem to recall a couple of our little ones pumped here recently on I don't know whether it was Coinbase listings or not, though. Can't remember. So I guess what my point with coin here is, ironically enough, there's actually a lot of cliche here. We put in W's. This is where, the professionals, it shouldn't surprise you to hear that they were buying against these lows. Market works its way higher. You could argue, 50% rules. This is what should have happened, right? Mr. Gann just simply says 50% bounce. I mean, that's sort of like Mother Nature. That's what's supposed to happen. So that's happened, and now it's played itself out. I think also, too, a big part of my teaching, reload zones. And more importantly, what I want you thinking about with reload zones is, if this is really a bear and this thing's a piece of shit, and whoever it is came out and shorted this thing right out of the gate and said this thing's garbage, if the price of the asset does get back up into this red zone, well, they're just going to come back out and they're going to defend whatever it is that they did here. They might sell more, right? So it really shouldn't surprise us to see some sort of rejection on sort of a tag up into that area. It makes perfect sense. Interesting too, over the past couple of years, we've been fortunate to really get to know Mr. Foggenbaum and chaos theory. And I do see, not only this consolidation painted that upside target, but this consolidation painted this upside target. So it makes sense to me we've run up into here, and then more importantly, it makes sense to me that once we get above this level here, we can get rejected really quickly. There isn't much strength above this level. So we kind of ran into a brick wall and boom, back down. It was that technical. Basically, we went too far. The rubber band was too extended. The bifurcation energy was exhausted. Or was it fundamental? Well, it was just really bad earnings and the stock had no business being this high. It's probably a combination of both, really. It just interestingly enough unto itself. Is that enough to actually issue either a buy or a sell signal unto itself? I don't think so. This is a V top, so we always say V tops should be tested because most tops actually look like M's. So I wouldn't be surprised at some point that high is tested again. Then also too, this is a gap. So at some point, everybody on the site likes to ask Mr. Sharktoshi how often gaps get filled in. But there's actually a pretty high statistical probability that price has to go right back up top here. So, like I said, I don't know whether I would call that a top. That's just not enough. I think the easiest way to look at this is this was a one-directional market. I mean, it was one hell of a buy signal. Any way you slice it there. One direction, super powerful. And then, who do you think was coming in and buying way up there?
Not us. I mean, the public.
Yeah. So, and that's, I don't know, Ben, now that you've kind of been working with me and TRI and stuff for a while now, and you got to know, do you see how we couldn't be buyers of this up here now? Does that make sense to a guy like you?
Yeah. Don't chase.
Yeah.
You say that all the time.
Yeah. And, the funny thing is we talked about this gap here. Well, there's that gap right there. Uh-oh. That gap right there. Uh-oh. In fact, actually, that 2-bar pattern right there is a very powerful little chart pattern unto itself. So, I mean, there's all these gaps in here and here and here. I mean, gee whiz. This is what I would say. There's just a ton of unfinished business here. All of this all has to be filled right back in. And the irony of all of this is, I don't know whether you guys had a chance to work with Kevin. I haven't seen him on the site in a while. Sure hope he's doing okay. But we actually have a rule that usually markets IPO, they lose about 50% of their value from where they bring the market out. And the reason why is just because they bring these things out too expensive. The public doesn't realize they're walking into an overpriced asset, and they FOMO buy, and they usually get crushed. You want a good example, just go look at what Facebook did on its IPO. Same thing. So if we figure that they brought this thing out at $380, then theoretically this thing should bottom at about $190. So it is interesting that if we do actually an A, B, C, D off of that level, that's going to take us down to about $140, $150 down there. So 180. Yeah. So ironically enough, if you follow the normal IPO kind of sort of the way that this game is played, this thing actually bottomed a little too expensively. And I remember the reason why I made reference to Kevin was he was like, I'm just going to wait for it to come back down here. And I wouldn't be surprised if something like this plays itself out. As all you guys all pile into DeFi and all these centralized exchanges all blow up and they go out of business.
But yeah, I'd like that to happen, but I think we're still so far away from that.
I'm being stupid.
No, I know. The one thing I was going to mention too, if you actually overlay the Bitcoin chart on top of that, they do seem pretty correlated. And Bitcoin had a huge dump right about when the market was opening today, and so to me it could be another reason why Coinbase kind of opened so low there.
I think Bitcoin was doing pretty well first thing this morning, though.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure when
it didn't really tip over until kind of about halfway through the day, and then all of a sudden, risk just fell apart. And really, I actually think that it's the one market that you all hate, or at least Greta hates. I don't know about you guys. Is actually leading this whole damn thing. and that's the crude oil. As soon as the crude oil emmed out here today, and it was interesting watching this price pattern here, because and I actually even put a tweet out later on. This I think is this is significant. I think this is the May crude oil futures contract, and what chart pattern is that?
An unconfirmed key reversal, or well, I mean not that the trade trigger hasn't come in yet, correct?
Yeah.
But
Actually, I like that, Nick. I mean, if anything, that shows that you're going to do well at this, because like we have to be perfectionists. So that's probably exactly the textbook thing to say. This is an unconfirmed outside downside kick-ass fucking A key reversal. But as Nick says, unconfirmed. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. So that's good. Don't get too excited, Brian. This thing might just fucking crank straight up from here. Who knows? But I put out a tweet because keep in mind, this has already got a double top working. There's already an M in there. So this was fascinating to watch this war here this morning, in our day trading room. And actually it was really interesting, like in the stock market, we had the boys, and I think I said this in the video this morning. We had the boys going both directions today. It was really interesting to watch them hashing it out. But and I can't seem to find the screen I wanted to show you. But the point that I would just make, here's a good example. So, the crude oil market started to break, and then crypto rolled over, and it was like it just couldn't. It couldn't fight the tsunami. Here's the crude oil on the lower time frame, the 4-hour chart. I mean, this was just so incredibly. I mean, geez, man, this is incredible setup here this morning. Absolutely insane. So I think this is actually what led the market to break. And I don't know how long this goes on, but remember, half of the reason why these markets got bid up so much was because things like the Fed governors and stuff just came in and just willy-nilly threw money at the market. Their attitude has completely changed. They are talking about taking money away from the market, curtailing their activity, winding down their bond purchases, winding down their support for the economy. Frankly speaking, I think the whole damn thing has everything to do with the Jupiter-Saturn cross, and it has absolutely nothing to do with anything any human on this planet has any control over whatsoever. But I'm a weirdo. That's fine. I don't mind that. Point I would just say here is I think that the risk market is looking for another heroin fix. And the central bankers they're just not talking about giving them any more heroin. So this is probably, in my opinion, the market you want to watch. If this thing starts breaking in earnest, it'll probably lead the rest of the risk market down with it, including your beloved Bitcoins. The irony of it all is, I suppose, from a futures perspective, this is the CME futures contract. Didn't we say something about these damn price gaps? So, this big jump up earlier, you might have looked at that and said, well, you know what? I'll be more than happy to buy on the gap fill. I'm not going to chase this up here. So how much of this is just simply the people that are FOMO chasing are getting run over here? I think quite a bit. So it's fascinating. I mean, we always say at any given point in time. Remember we had the guy last in the spring. Do you guys remember back, I guess it was back here. There was a guy, used to live down South Central America or something, and he would just say, you know what, technical analysis doesn't matter. Just, go in there and FOMO buy, and, indicators don't mean anything. And if they're in divergence, so fucking what? And, ouch. So, our rule is that at any given point in time, you should expect things like 38.2 retracements. Boom. So that happened to be right there off of this range. I don't know what that's drawn off of, though. Right, and then actually there's our 37,000 when we started our show here. So anyway, I look at this, just even off of this range here. There's 38.2. What's that sitting at? 58,000. Right, there's key support. So ironically enough, all of this is just kind of fluffy fluffs. We could easily play. I wouldn't be surprised if this makes some sort of big head and shoulders kind of pattern here. And I still think we're heading higher, but that's just Brian. I'm not. So I think if anything, this is just a great analogy. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. I don't know. What was the good? Okay, so the first question was SOS. This stinky, stinky, stinky. Don't like the look of this at all. And of course, you're never gonna get me. Well, not never. I broke the rule there about 6 months ago. I bought one Chinese warrant, and I was ashamed to admit that I doubled my money on it. But on balance, I'm not going to be the biggest fan. It's so funny. Zach had this Chinese stock for our TRISOF group last week. And I don't know if anybody's got this stock. It was so funny. You go to the company's website, and it's got a very austere picture of the young man. He really wants to impress the higher ups in China, and the very first line on the website, it says, "Proud member of the Chinese Communist Party." It's like, you want me to invest my hard-earned money, just hand it over to you, when technically, if Winnie comes to you and says, thank you, give me the money, you're gonna say, "Yes, sir," and can I give you a blowjob while you're at it? I'm not gonna do that. There's no fucking way I'm gonna do that. It's just not gonna happen. So, no, it's weird how Chinese stocks got slightly acceptable there. For about 3 or 4 years, they were actually acceptable. No, I couldn't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole now. Can't do it. Sucks. So, anyway, it is what it is. And then the coin story, I do like the idea that and if anything, look, there was a gap even on this silly Finviz chart right there. This thing had just rallied too far, and it needed to take a bit of a pause. And even the Bitcoin, we comment about it. I mean, hell, the silly thing. Remember, we said there was a buy signal at the beginning of the October, right? That was way down here. So, I mean, no, I beg your pardon, that was right in here. I guess Ethereum, its buy signal was even better, but gee whiz, that's like straight line move up. So, the worst part about this is all contained within the context of that. So I still think that the end of this move is going to look something insane like this. I know, call me crazy, but I actually do think it. So I don't really want to get into the business of calling tops on this silly thing. And now seeing, the way the inflation numbers and stuff are coming out, I get the distinct impression that the U.S. Federal Reserve has lost a lot of credibility with a lot of the investment community, people like Stanley Druckenmiller, if you know who he is. I'm not overly impressed with the political leadership of the world either. I think it's very sort of kind of waffly. And I was listening to one gentleman, can't remember his name. He calls himself the Bond King or something like that. And, you listen to his squawking and you'd swear the whole damn economy is just about to tip over and head into Armageddon here. And the funny thing is, the worst part about it is you guys all want $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 Bitcoin. But I always tell you on the website, you're going to get your $200,000 Bitcoin, but at the same time, how much is your loaf of bread going to cost you?
I don't know, 10 times more than it is now. Add a zero.
Yeah, a lot of money. And actually,
I don't
I
know.
think I even saw wheat prices were moving up egregiously too. You know, I thought it was really interesting. We're getting funny price spikes. Like the price of ammonia right now is spiking violently. And ammonia is a. Do you guys know what ammonia is a key component in?
Fertilizer?
That apparently means they don't. Ammonia goes into with potash. What am I thinking
Fertilizer.
here? Fertilizer. That's right. Got to grow those crops. So, if we get some sort of insane price spike and the key components of fertilizer, I thought it was really interesting. Like one of my favorite companies to invest in ever was a company called pot, ironically enough, before the days of actual like pot investing, and it was the Potash Corporation of Saskatchewan. And it's weird how it is very difficult to actually get to invest in fertilized companies. There's just not that many. Intrepid, that's a pretty good one. You can see they've been moving up pretty egregiously through this whole damn inflation spike cycle. So anyway, kind of a side to maybe it's just interesting, just a quick boo. What the hell's wheat doing? I wonder how you do that. I think you gotta go. You have to do the 6? Is that how it works? Isn't that funny? On my cell phone, I just got a notification. The Coinigy webinar should start shortly. Do either of you two use Coinigy? Have you ever been there?
Been there. I think it was just to watch a couple of your old videos, but I don't use it.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I used it a while back, but not anymore.
Wheat, there it is. ZW. That's what I wanted to show you. Well, let's just see what the hell. Let's see what the loaf of bread's going to cost us. Oh boy. Loaf of bread's getting more and more expensive. Let's see, where the hell is this thing going? Hasn't quite broken out to all-time highs yet, but foggy boggies, eh? We can all see what a loaf of bread's going to cost us down the road here. Boom, something like that. Boom. Probably going to take a run up top. Anyway, so, oh, that's funny. All right, there we go. So, better part of $8-9 for a loaf of bread here in the short term. All right, so answered your question there, hopefully, Ben. I don't know. That's one way to waste 45 minutes, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic, just kind of breaking down where I have a confirmation bias sometimes when I look at things within the crypto sphere, and I think they're all related as to why maybe they went down. But when you dig in and you look into the stories, it was really cool to see that they're all quite uncorrelated and they have their own reasons and their own stories and things going on. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I do think that it was kind of weird. I think the whole market kind of got lulled into sort of, we're a bull market. That means we endlessly go up. I mean, look at this move in Ethereum. That's just relentless. I mean, there ain't no sign of a top there or anywhere in sight, other than we did hit this head and shoulders objective. So that might cause us to pause, but gee whiz, that's just relentless, eh? And then it's weird how you kind of get hypnotically sucked into this sort of this state where you just assume that the market's just going to keep grinding higher day after day after day. And usually it's in that kind of environment that a lot of hearts, they set them up to get broken. The hard part of this game is you got to somehow find these little windows in here when things turn, and they make the W's. In fact, I can show you a good example. Here's one where I took a shot on and I was totally wrong. And I had to just take a punch in the nose today. So, everybody want to pull up your chair and learn how you can lose money like a real pro? Pay attention. Where is that one? I think this is it. So, down at the bottom end of the range, it starts putting in, things like cute little W's. Hey, maybe we got something to work with here. All right. Bang! Fuck you. Literally on the open when I saw it, and the news, of course, was not good. I was just like, get me the fuck out of there. And you just got to do that. It sucks, but it's just a trader's life. I don't know. So, thankfully, you have enough of these that... I think probably the most important thing when it comes to trading and making money from trading is you have to know in your soul that you'll have enough of these that if you have to take a punch in the nose like this and take a 25% loss on this and just get the fuck out. You just got to do it. It sucks, but you just got to do it. That's the hard part about being a trader. A little old lady, you could just, okay, fine, I'll just sit on this thing, don't do anything. But the problem with that, of course, is number one, if you're a little old lady, you're not putting too much money into any one trade. But number two, you have no idea how long this could take to come back. It might take years to come back. So a lot of times it's your best just to admit that you were wrong, the W didn't help, and get the hell out and move on to the next one. So that's probably the hardest thing to learn as a trader. So, and you guys remember how I scolded myself there at the end of September, because these opportunities don't come along every day, but there's the damn W, and Brian's in the middle of fucking lugging a goddamn couch around half around the city of Vancouver trying to find a place to sleep, right? When I should be at my post, half decent trade and just live with the results. I mean, even, the simplest strategy I want you guys to leave the course is I'm just going to buy the W, down, up, down, breakout, and I'm going to maybe sell half at like 2 to 1. And that's that level. So boom, boom, boom. You get your half of the order done there on that day there. Move your stop to scratch on the remaining and just see where the hell the wind blows you. That's the way to get fucking rich in this world, boys. Seriously. And sometimes these trades, especially... like if you can get to the point where you're working with guys like Kiran and Daniele and they have futures contracts on, and you can just let one of these futures contracts, if it's a big boy, just let it go and see where the hell it takes you. It might fucking be life-changing events by the end of the day because the damn market just keeps going and going and going, and you're like, hey, look at that. I just made 20 G's. It happens. So... Anyway, I think it's important. Like I often show you guys successes. No, this is the way you do it. Oh, look at how it's probably also important to that you see that I lose money professionally too, like anybody else. I can lose money with the best of them, and I never expect to be right 100% of the time. Just don't expect it, and when you're wrong, just admit it and get the fuck out. Anyway. One in crypto that was hanging in that I was thinking maybe I was going to get stopped on was this Digi. Oh, it's back to my entry. So here's a good example. Look at the fucking roller coaster that we're going on here. Oh, look how smart I am. Oh, I'm super smart. Oh, no, I'm stupid. Oh, now I'm getting smart. No, now I'm stupid. Oh, no, I'm right. Basically now I'm neither smarter or stupider than the moment I got into the trades. There's a really good example of a trader's life. You just don't know in this game. So, and I know a lot of people hate when I say that, but I swear to you guys, try and learn to get. Look at this one, Jesus, LRC. This thing kills me. Did we look at this back in the summer? Because look, I have all this fucking written out here. And look at the W and everything. And look at that. That's insane. Did we talk about this in the summer? Does this look at all familiar?
I don't think so. I'm gonna look how big. It's in the top 100 now, but I don't think it was back then. Because it's at $3 now. Back then it was like 30 cents.
Yeah. no. It's 10x easily.
So yeah, it would have been about 400 million market cap back then. So it would not have been in the top 100.
Remarkable, eh? So, if anything, folks, learn these reload zones. We all got such a great lesson there through the summer about, Allen and his pumping up the space. And then everybody was super sanguine all through the summer there, and just reload zones, then big W's. And literally, this could be life-changing events for you happening right now, folks. And this can happen to any of you. Any of you. All you got to do is you just got to plan, right? And then you just got to execute the plan. That's the one thing that I don't know whether you're watching this, you realize that anybody can do this. And we could literally change your life. Now, the key here is it's very difficult to find these. They don't happen every day. You can't come in and buy it there and say, well, okay, it's going to keep going. No. Reload zones, W's, probably even a nice... What do you think the odds are? There was a bull divergence down in here, too. And probably this is even one of those Wyckoff checks. I swear. Oh, he's such a troublemaker. Yeah, look at that. Lower lows, higher lows. Big old divergence. So, it just tells you how cliche this crap is. Frankly speaking, I think the only reason why I'm not in this because it's Binance, and I had to give up my Binance account, eh?
Yeah, it should be on other stuff too.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that way I feel better.
It's on Coinbase as well.
It's on Coinbase,
yeah,
Kraken, Bitfinex.
The only one is I
Bitdom.
have an account on Trex. I still have that funny account of it. Oh, it is. Oh, see, no, I don't even know. What it is.
Don't look. Put it away.
Oh, that's interesting how that's not even really gotten going there. So what? Holy Jesus! Look at that IPO candle. It's $48. Huh. Yeah. Okay. So I don't have any excuses. I should have been in this, shouldn't I? Tisk tisk. Oh well, live and learn. What can you do? I don't remember you looking at it. I don't know. Josh had them all on Coinbases. Anyway, so what do you think we should do next? So Ben had a question, and I think I answered that. What do you think, Nick? We'll leave, and you guys over on the YouTube page. I don't know. You want to know what the color of my underwear is? I suppose I can tell you.
You're wearing underwear?
Surprisingly.
Speaking of Wyckoff checks, a couple of my classmates were curious about Wyckoff checks. Is there any way you can find a good example and just explain what it is for 2 minutes, and then I can link them the video? We were chatting about it a little bit.
I think we have the cheat sheet in the library, don't we?
Do we?
So we call it the Wyckoff markup process. Oh, you know what it is? In the level 1 class, we do the week on the Williams percentage R.
Mm-hmm.
And then I explain how it works with Elliott wave and the 5 different waves. Do you remember that?
Man, I don't. Check my notes.
All right. I was kind of hoping I could. Where the hell's the site? I thought we had the dashboard up here earlier, didn't we? I thought we did. Is it there? No. There? No. There? No. No. Maybe it's over here. Is it over here? There it is. Yeah. So the Wyckoff, Richard Wyckoff is a technician, lived basically, ironically enough, you know what I think ends up happening? Is I think societies build up a whole bunch of sort of positive energy into the end of these centuries. And so each end of the century ends in some sort of huge sort of social orgy. So it doesn't surprise me that there was a huge sort of interest in the stock market and in trading and in learning, technical analysis, fundamental analysis all around the turn of the 20th century. And what a surprise that we see basically the same thing around the turn of the 21st century. And then all the people that sort of made their fame through the big bull market into the end of the century, they often go on to be sort of like, the teachers of the next sort of generation. So a guy like John Bollinger, for example, I remember back in the 90s going to see presentations by him, and he was just a young guy back then. And now, of course, he's an elderly like statesman of technical analysis now. Like I remember when the guy who owns that Dallas basketball team, I remember when that guy was a snot-nosed punk, and he was shilling his real networks. And I think I've told you guys, I've joked about that before. And the guy from AOL, and I always forget the guy's name. I want to say Steve something. Anyway, he had a really goofy hairdo. I always remember that. And hell, I remember when Bezos, when he would just get out of his hedge fund and he just started up Amazon.com. Man, he had the most fucking goofiest laugh you ever heard anybody laugh in your whole life. I mean, total classic sort of nerd. So anyway, I mean, I don't know where I'm going with all this. Wyckoff and Gann and Gartley and Livermore and Durant, all of those were the big characters of last century. And a lot of their sort of things that they learned, we kind of almost consider them like gospel today. So one of them happens to be what we call the Wyckoff markup process. And ironically enough, it is basically under sort of how markets work. I don't know if usually I have like these cheat sheets and images and stuff in here. I can just never remember where the hell I saved them. Wyckoff, there we are. So this is Mr. Wyckoff's market cycle. And I'm sure we probably talked about this in the level 1. I know we talked about this in the level 2 because we, remember well, have you guys done the futures market structure yet, Nick?
We're doing it just this week.
Oh, okay. So you're going to learn this. So how does the commodity industry actually work? And it works in this fashion. So what ends up happening is, especially 100 years ago when society was more agrarian and far more far more seasonally, I don't know what the word is. Their behavior was definitely dictated by what the season was. If it was the middle of the winter 150 years ago, hell, they even shut the U.S. Revolutionary War down in the middle of winter and told everybody to go home and come back and start fighting again when the snow thawed. That's the way they used to fight wars. They literally, when everybody go home for winter and come back in the spring, we'll start fighting again. So that's how significant seasonality was. As time has gone by, of course, we've dealt with inclement weather a little bit better, but it's really interesting. Like in the construction industry, for example, it is damn expensive to work with frozen ground. It is damn expensive to dig frozen ground up. So the point being that this is basically how the entire capitalist system works, where you have a period, let's say like the middle of winter, not a lot of construction's going on. So since there's not a lot of construction going on, there's not a lot of demand for assets, right? Things like lumber, copper wire or whatever it takes to go into making houses. But usually what ends up happening is we have annual general meetings, and at those annual general meetings, which are usually held in the fall and the winter when, things like construction companies are not that busy, they make their plans for the coming year. And in essence, what the market does is as these companies go through the process of placing purchase orders with wholesalers, and then wholesalers send the product to retailers, and then retailers mark it up for customers. In essence, each part of that each stage of that is a markup process. So, this is like, consider this like wholesale, and this is retail. And you can think of the stock market. It's exactly the same thing, where in essence, stocks go on sale, and especially this time of year, actually into the end of the year, there's tax loss selling. There's actually tax incentivized selling going on, pressure that creates this sort of lower high and lower low scenario. And then as people get ready for RRSP and 401k contribution season, then we start the markup process. So the wholesalers, they buy them up and they pass them on to, say, the mutual funds. Mutual funds buy them up and then they pass them on to the retail clients. And then, at RSP 401k contribution time, stocks mysteriously are much higher in price and the retail public comes in and buys the top of the market. And then once they bought, then we go through the markdown process where we've got to start the whole damn thing all over again. I mean, this is the way the capitalist system works. So you can think of this, in the level 3 program, we go into actually trading seasonality. And you can break this down from the construction industry. You can break this process down with the agricultural industry and the inputs there. You can break this down with the stock market. You can break this down with economies and consumer behavior. In essence, this is the way the capitalist system works. So, excuse me. The point here is how do you get prices to efficiently move up so that the wholesalers are buying at the bottom and the retailers are buying at the top? That is, in essence, this markup process where the institutions will come in and buy down markets. They will come out with stories, maybe research reports, maybe help locally owned media outlets to encourage the public to come out to the local dealership to test drive new vehicles. Who knows? I mean, the way that the 1% gets the public to act, I mean, God, use your imagination. You see the way the media is manipulated by the 1% in our society. I mean, it's staggering what they do to get us to act, right? But once the public has acted, okay, so that big surge they bought, now what? Public's long. Institutions bought down here, right? Because institutions buy down markets. They pump the market up. Now the public's long. Institutions no longer long anymore. They really want to get the price up to here, so what do? I don't know, let's inject a little bit of fear into the marketplace. I don't know, come up with some crazy media story that checks the trend. Kind of like what Ben's talking about with his coin, right? Today is a pretty good reason to drive the coin price down. Was it correlated with Bitcoin coming off? With all of risk assets maybe needing to come down because they just went one direction too far? Well, do you kind of see how maybe the coin story is a little bit of that Wyckoff kind of check kind of thing where the media injects that coin story and gets Beamish guy going, yeah, well, quarterly earnings in the summer, and you remember how weak it was, and everybody was weak, so it's completely understandable. Yeah, sell your stock, right? Whatever. Point here is public sells, they lose interest. Guess who's buying that up? And where are they buying it up off of? And the whole point of the Wyckoff check is this is structural. That actually this point right here should correspond with this point here. And then also, too, kind of a final point to this, how do markets actually move? Which is kind of interesting. A lot of people don't really understand how markets actually move from one. Can you understand how this is a level, this is a level, this is a level? How do markets actually move up and down here? And you would think that it's a big rush of buying that moves markets up. In a weird sort of way, actually, and in the level 3 program, we talk about this in Trading with the DOM. And I guess to a certain degree in the level 1 program when we talk about Fibonacci extensions. Remember we used that gold market? You remember the head and shoulders pattern in the gold market and the way that it moved in that very stair-step fashion? I don't know whether you guys remember that or not. But in essence, that gold market chart looks almost exactly the same as this. So the point being that actually this is an incredibly mechanical process. And really, this here is just checking this breakout. And what should happen is you push markets up. There should be a ceiling of sell orders here. Think supply and demand. So the market gets pushed up through this level. And if this really is a bull, then what should happen is, number one, bids should continually come and bid this thing up. But more importantly, does it make sense that there's kind of like a hole in the market here by it pushing through this level? It used to be like a range. This is the top end of the range. This is the bottom end of the range. Market comes up here and it like literally punches a hole through this level. And if this hole is not filled in with buy orders, people that wanted to actually buy this level, I mean, there was so much demand here that demand overwhelmed supply. There's probably some people that were demanding it that just never got filled. Price just took off. So the key here is if we hold this level, then the pent-up buyers, the demanders, will literally fill in this hole so that when it comes back down and it tests this level, there's all these people that are still wanting to buy down here. So what ends up happening, market comes back down to this level. It's a down market. Who do you think those people are? If this is really a bull and they're going to mark this thing up, who's buying the test of this breakout?
I mean, probably be institutional type people.
Yeah, because remember, we said they bought down here. They
So
sold to the public here, so they don't have any more right now.
I have a question. When you were saying that you would think it would be buying pressure, like what's the other reason? Could it be that the institutions were kind of keeping the price within that range, then they just removed a lot of their sell orders at that level?
Sure.
Is that what made it pop up?
Okay. I mean, the only thing that you know for certain here, just one thing, and that's the only thing you know. Demand overwhelmed
Sure.
supply.
Sure.
That's the only thing that you know for certain. Why that happened? I mean, the funny thing, like I said, how markets move, ironically enough, what you just said there is actually very accurate. That there probably was a big sell wall here. But as price was moving up, Mr. Sell Wall said, you know what? We're ready to mark up the market. And then he moves his big sell wall order up to here now. And so the market doesn't see that. And we have a rule, market always moves towards size. So market doesn't see the sell wall here anymore. It goes blowing through it. It looks up and it sees the sell wall up here. So it goes literally, it's like a magnet. It just gets sucked right towards size. Like I said, usually there's a lot of retail involved in here. You know, I used to, in the brokerage industry, it would be right in here as the market's moving up that the fat cats upstairs would say, all right, let's come out with a research report talking about how wonderful this stock is and how it needs to go to like $10 a share. Let's say this is like $5 right here. So everybody gets the report and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The thing just goes straight to $10. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so 1%, the guys that pump this thing up, they've sold to the public at $10 there. Silly public's buying here. Then we got to get the public out, so we create some FUD. Public's out on the check of the previous breakout high. 1% comes back in on the buy side, and we do the whole damn thing all over again. Institutions buy down markets, public sells down markets. They engineer some sort of story, pump the thing up, move it up to new highs, FOMO buys, public comes in, chases tops, 1% sells to them, and we do the same thing. And this is the markup process. So, I don't know. Does that help answer the question?
Was this back to me asking just what a Wyckoff check was and if you could explain it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I kind of forgot what the initial question was. Yeah. So is it always just coming back to test a breakout?
I think I would say, you know what it really is, and I wanted to show you. I don't know whether I can quickly. Where's the, it's a website. So in the level 3 program, I give students, you've heard me talk about the parking garage before, right?
Yep.
So if you think about, I'm going to have to do it in the previous term. I think this one will do it. So we go through this image. So this is what I was. Oh darn, that's not really the best image to show you. But this is in essence that parking garage kind of thinking, and think of that Wyckoff check as they're levels in the marketplace. And the interesting thing is if you go to just keep this image in mind. Can I save this somehow? Here, just give me a second. Keep this image in mind, and then think of, I want to show you another website, but I got to get the screen share thing too. Come on, there it is. And we'll go like that. And we'll go like this. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's keep this in mind. We'll just put that on the side burner. If we go to the library, and actually it's really cool. Daniele, they use Sierra charts, the day trader guys, and he has a couple really great examples of just massive brick walls, like iceberg orders. You ever heard of the term iceberg order? And the market just literally gets sucked right to the iceberg level and then just gets completely rejected back down. So, and actually this is also like Dalton. Remember Dalton and his conversation about the feeder cattle auction? And how he knew that price was gone too far when there just weren't that many participants, but the price was still being bid up. So you can kind of think of like this as a big brick wall. Price goes into it. Then we go up top here. The feeder cattle auction, it's actually thinning out. Price is still heading high, but there aren't that many bidders. And then price starts to fade. And then if we lose, think Wyckoff check. If we lose this level here, then we actually paint a big M, and then the cascade starts down the sell side, but working its way back down. You can actually see this visually, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. If you go to like almost all of these crypto exchanges, they love to show these. If you look at the order book, where's the best one to show you? Well, I'm thinking bitcoinigy.org or something like that.
Just for some of the chat, if you're not sure about that cattle analogy, if you can find a copy of the introduction of Mind Over Markets, it's kind of in there. It's just a couple pages long, but it was a really good analogy, I feel, for.
Okay. There we go. So this is literally a real-time snapshot of this parking garage, and each of these levels are these big brick walls here. You see that?
Yep.
So quite literally,
those are important levels that we're going to have to kind of come back to and see who's going to win.
Remember that the market is designed to actually it's not designed for you and I. The market is actually designed for Mr. Big Shot. And Mr. Big Shot, actually, they're just playing ping pong and they're bouncing these big orders back and forth between them. And we, as the small fish, our job is just to simply provide the grease. So this doesn't just go like lock limit from one big order to the other. It's sort of fluid and it moves back and forth. But in essence, the market is designed to service these big boys. Right? And so that's basically what this image is. That you will have people that are set buyers and sellers at specific levels. And what ends up happening is, and you can kind of see it here, if we have a huge rally, you can see we're going to slam right into this wall right here, right? You've heard bid wall, ask wall. You've heard that term before, right? So you can see we're going to slam right into this, and it's probably going to stop whatever the market rally is. Now, the problem with this kind of image is that this is what they're showing in the order book. They might just pull the order 10 seconds before price actually hits that, right? And that's why I don't like teaching people to start with looking at this, because actually half of this is bullshit. And it's to get you to act emotionally when that's not really in your best interest. So you got to understand that this is, in essence, this is almost like a game of chicken, looking at this image and making decisions based off of this. What I just want you to understand is, can you see the levels of the parking garage? You can like literally see them. Like, look at this size from here to here. That's like 500 and some odd coins there, right? That's a pretty big jump. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. Thanks.
All right. So, if you can think Wyckoff, like this is the capitalist process. If you can think institutions buy down markets, public buys up markets, can't move the market straight from here up to here. It's just too far. So how do they do that process? They mark it up, get the public to buy, then freak the public out, get them to panic sell. Just exactly what we saw through July in Bitcoin. Perfect example. This is exactly that. All right, this right there. That is that process right there. So, and the sad part about it is the same thing here. They're like Germans going, buy Bitcoin, you'll never lose money, right? Technical indicators don't matter, right? Who buys up markets? Are you walking into a trap? Maybe. Be careful. Bang! Who buys down markets? Or maybe we should say, who sells down markets? Public was selling. The good part about the crypto community is I think enough people heard the message from like Willy Woo and all that kind of stuff that I think a lot of the crypto people were like, okay, I can step in and buy here. So maybe that's half the reason why this thing turned around so quickly, is that there were so many people that were just ready, willing, and able to buy in here. But I seem to remember originally that he said it was going to stop right in like sort of the 30-40 area, and it did one dip, and people were kind of like, Willie, we're not happy with you right now kind of thing. I seem to remember that. But this is basically that Wyckoff process in action, the markup process. Remember I was telling you I got all cursed at myself there in October for missing that trade, right? So institutions drove this thing down. Public was starting to freak out. And, of course, you had to have the kahunas to step in and buy when they turned it back up here. Now, who's buying this up market? That's the worst part about this. We have to accept the fact that the public's buying up here. Institutions are probably shilling. And then, of course, just to keep you honest, and this is what I always do. It's the simplest thing you can possibly do at any given point in time is I got to find a chart, of course, that isn't totally dirty. The easiest way to keep you out of trouble is you just simply do what's called the 50% rule. And it will keep you out of a lot of trouble in this world. So if we go 50%, and usually this is measured over a 52-week period. So where are we here? That's a daily chart. So let's go weekly. So 50% rule even right now is that high. And that low, that's a 52-week range. So at any given point in time, this thing could trade back to 42,000. But, you know, the logic works the same way going the other direction. And, you know, what's so funny is like we did that video with Dav years ago. I guess, no, actually it wasn't there. It was over here. Yeah, I guess it was here, yeah. So you can do exactly the same logic going up too. So notice 52 weeks. So that was right there. So you had to expect this thing was going to rally back to that 50% rule. And, you know, this is actually the very first technical analysis rule tool that I was ever taught. Is the 50% rule. This is what keeps you out of trouble. And good old Kenny Roberts, he taught me, look at, find these 50% rules where the market's substantially below and then just hunt for the W's. And I mean, damn, if you had just simply did one trade, and now this is what, 2 years ago? Just one trade in this space. That's it. That was the trade, like investment-wise. There was a really, really cool example of reload, which ironically enough, just all it did was it just got you to step in off of that exact same level right there. I mean, gee whiz, look at that, eh? That's a much, much harder trade. But this is really the investment trade right there. Simple as that.
Every time you give the Kevin story about how he stepped in and bought there, I'm like, how the hell am I ever going to get to that point? Because that just looks like such a tough trade. Because I can only imagine what everyone was saying right then.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know whether you were around the site, but basically, people were losing. You know, this. You want to write something down? Just remember this. You'll know that the bottom is in when somebody says they're willing to sacrifice their life, or somebody actually dies because of the stock market correction or crash. As soon as that happens, instantly the bottom is in. So I remember through this, there were actually people going, I'm willing to sacrifice my life for capitalism. What? I mean, people act so crazy. And then you remember our guy, right? Shouldn't we debate about mortgaging our kids' future? Shut the fuck up, you know. All that, right? That's happened through there. So there's a beautiful tell of, ironically enough, this bottom was actually incredibly cliche. As well, too, another thing that you should write down if you're taking notes here, if you ever see a market dump like this, and it had nothing to do with Bitcoin. That was the most important thing. All through this, there was a CFTC guy every single day in front of Congress. Don't shit on Bitcoin. Oh, don't shit on the crypto kids. They're wonderful. And even through here, this was also all about crypto. Everybody was talking crypto. This had nothing to do with crypto. Nobody even mentioned Bitcoin through this. So that in itself was another huge reason why this was a really good idea here. So it's fascinating. And, you know, the irony of it all is that what should happen is it should just get to the point where you see this and you actually say to yourself, you know, if I don't take a trade there, I'd be really an idiot. But I can absolutely guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, neither of you two are anywhere even close to that kind of mileage under your tires. You don't have enough experience to get to that point where you go, holy fuck, if I don't take a trade here, all the guys in the trading room are going to laugh at me. You know? Which is literally how we were feeling. Like, you had to take the trade there. If you were a trader, that's where you're supposed to take the trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've finally gotten myself off of the opposite of that. Is if I take a trade here, I am an idiot. not like buying up markets, et cetera, not FOMOing, not chasing. I'm finally good at that, but yeah,
That's good.
this other end of it.
That's stage one. That's stage one. And the problem here is that it's really easy to give into the FOMO, eh? It's really easy to jump on the bandwagon and go, oh, Alan's all excited. What the hell? I'll just become part of Alan's army and we'll all get rich together. And you kind of like download the job of actually making a good investment decision onto somebody else. That's why a lot of people love these kind of places. I don't want to learn how to trade. Just tell me what to buy and sell. That's all I give a shit. Nothing else is important. And of course, guys like me, that drives guys like me crazy. So, probably the good first step is, okay, I have to first learn not to give in to the very natural tendencies. The second step is you actually have to identify what the natural tendencies are, and then you actually have to be ready, willing, and able to do the exact opposite of what those natural instincts want you to do. Which is, now that's the hard part, because you're like, oh, like this thing's tanking, and you're scared shitless, right? And it's being in the scared, you have to recognize that that's actually what's supposed to happen when the 1% are actually getting ready to buy. It's when you are most fearful, and of course, you're ready to hit that sell button and sell to them. That's tough. I'm not going to say that. So, and that's probably we have to get, a lot of that has emotional implications, and what if this trade doesn't work? Then my peers are going to think poorly of me. What if this trade doesn't work? I'm not going to be able to have the money to buy my food or pay the rent or medication, or I'm not going to be able to buy that gift that my loved one wanted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a ton of emotion that's all wrapped up in that as well. And you have to get to the point where that's not even part of the conversation anymore. It's if I don't take this trade here, I'm gonna regret it. That's probably the way I would look at it. So you'll get there. I mean, the good part about it is that the principles that we teach are universal, so nothing ever changes. So, and I actually like that. Like, we'll have some people that'll leave the site for 4 or 5 years, and we had a guy who just came back after about a 3 or 4 year stint off. I hadn't seen him in a while. Nothing changes. And he's even like, Brian, it sure is nice to be back here. I forgot what it's like to be here. Because the message is always the same. Banging out doubles, weekly W's. Don't take too much risk. Hey, where are you going to go get drunk tonight? Oh, yeah, you're going to go party. But work is work. We don't take work and play and intermix them. Business is business. And what we do works. It's slow and steady wins the race. But, we play it. We work hard, but we play hard too. And play is play. And when you get to go play, you get to go have fun. But don't mix the two. That's an absolute word of caution for all of you. Well, this has just been a night of rhetoric, eh? Well, I sure hope you're enjoying it.
That's been good.
So, the sad part about this image right now, and ironically enough, 50% rules, we were actually, the level 3ers are doing options on Deribit right now. Check this out. I mean, this, I was actually quite surprised to see this. But actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was almost, yeah. So that, ironically enough, was exactly what I was just saying there a few minutes ago. Can you see how at any given point in time you should expect 50% corrections? I mean, it just happens. Kind of like 38.2s. And actually, this is where, like, Colin's turned into quite a little crypto celebrity now, eh? With the whole Frog Nation and all that. I'm darn impressed with Colin. But do you talk much with Colin?
Not too much. I chat with him a little bit on in the Hero Labs Discord every once in a while, but no, he's done really well this year. It seems like he's upped his trading game and skills a lot during this bull market too. He's sticking to his plan more. He's
Venture
doing
capital. You ride a 1000x on a few venture capital names, and it's tough not to make money.
No, I was just
I
saying.
think I used to tell you guys I used to work with one guy. Every cycle he would do a deal, he'd buy a new house. So I could literally, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Colin just got married and had a kid, and I think he went and bought a new house. So if anything, he's actually being a very typical venture capitalist. Way to go, Colin! Good for you. Actually, there's been a few TRIers have had some kids. Hey, Ryan just had a kid. Colin just had a kid. Are you guys? I suppose are you guys getting ready to? Wait, do you think you're gonna have any kids? Maybe I should ask that question first.
I mean, Ben, you already do, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah.
Trying to, yeah, we got our hands full with the one for now.
Yeah, I'm not planning on having any. I'm just planning on helping raise my brothers.
All right, your brothers are they?
I'm way too selfish with my time, and so I wouldn't want to do it unless I was going to be willing to spend the time and be a great dad. But my wife and I both have lots of other interests in life, so we're going to help raise our friends and relatives' kids and call it a day.
Okay. So, point being, Colin's pump chaser zone concept. I mean, I used to call it the first stop target, Ray Burchett levels, 50% levels. I like how Colin sort of juxtaposed both levels to come up with his little pump chaser zone. I think that's a handy little concept. So, you could use that sort of like mid-cycle as we go. Your reload zone, then your beautiful W, then the reload zone of this range, then I guess breakouts to new highs. Try not to chase up here. Market does pull back. Any signs of divergence in here? And really, I hate to say it, but I think actually the trade is going to piss off all the Bitcoiners. But I actually think the trade was Ethereum here. I think that's a more profitable trade. But wow, look at that bottom, eh? I mean, everybody watching this video, this is what you're here to learn. Is you're too late now. You're just too late. But you have to learn to find this. Can you do that? Can you print off a chart like this and say, I only buy weekly W's? If you can do that, then there's a lot of money to be made, especially if you can find them on big rising volume. But try not to chase up here. That's kind of asking for trouble. Let's see, what are you guys talking about over there? GTC, BTC, W on other side of trend line. Well, there you go. I wouldn't be surprised if we're in like a window of about a month or two of some just insane altcoin action here. The thing I would be worried about, especially if you're looking at like a coin versus Bitcoin like this, just be careful. I don't know whether I see a bottom there. I think you're pushing it. I mean, I think you really want this idea to work, Wade. 6 of one, half dozen the other. I would strongly suggest that you try and look at your assets if it's like against Tether. At least maybe it gives you an idea. Like you can see the original double bottoms down here. Then there's the actually that's a good little Wyckoff check. Reload zone pullback. So maybe I mean, what's the fundamental story? There's got to be a good fundamental story here, like a really good one, to come this late into the market and think about making a fortune here. I mean, there better be a really good story here.
I think this is one of Sharky's coins. I think this is Gitcoin, which would be pretty much anyone. I think the story on this is, so GitHub is a software development kind of open source code
Didn't
repository.
Microsoft buy GitHub? I thought Microsoft bought that.
I don't know the answer to that, but I think this is a coin related to Git.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a half decent fundamental story and you're kind of like, well, Brian, I mean, I really like the structure and I like the directors and stuff. Okay, the only problem I have is that we're at the end of this 4-year cycle, I'm worried. People were passing around the Benner chart. And I've been talking about a lot of this on site videos. I'm very... Look how they've mapped all this out here. Here we are over here. So I'm not quite sure what these guys are expecting. But here's 2023. And I'm worried that 2020 to 2023 is supposed to be a down cycle period. I would prefer that we get on the other side of this event, or even mid 2023. Then I'll be like, fucking A, man, pitch me all the stories you want. And I'll buy, show me weekly W's, I'm in. But between now and about the middle of 2023, I'm officially not excited, for lack of a better term. I'm very, very, very leery of everything. To be perfectly honest with you folks, what I'm hearing, I've been at this game a very long time. I do not like anything that I'm hearing out of any of these people that are running our society right now. I don't think you guys realize how insane this is. It's absolutely out of control. And usually this has to end in heartbreak. So, I don't know. It's going, the sad thing is my personal horoscope. I remember in 2000 I think it was about 2003, 2004, I read a horoscope and it said that I was supposed to have 30 years of financial prosperity ahead of me. And I have to say, horrible life circumstances that have nothing to do with money. But financially, life has been actually very comfortable. I have not had a single concern. But I only have about 10 more years of that. And I'm really afraid that we might probably... I found it really fascinating that a guy like Jesse Livermore, Jesse Livermore owned the entire U.S. stock market. He owned everything. He was the fucking shit. 1929 came. The crash of 29, he went home that night and his wife had packed up the house, the estate that he lived in, and he came home and he's like, "What the hell's going on? The house is empty." And his wife is like, "Well, I kind of, we read the papers, we saw what happened on Wall Street, and we thought we'd do you a favor and try and help out a little bit so you wouldn't be so stressed." And he goes, "I made more money today than I made in all of my career put together." How does a guy in 1929 go from that to committing suicide by 1941? What happened to a guy in that short period of time that that would cause him to literally actually want to take his life and give up? And I'm worried that our whole society, the whole fabric of our society is going to go through, keep in mind the Second World War, there's people that believe that the whole Second World War was completely manufactured. Did we have maybe a manufactured war at the beginning of this century? This is how diabolical these one percenters are. I'm worried that I have a very big mouth. And I'm going to say something, and somebody is going to go to great lengths to put me out of business. So I'll try and say as much positive and try and make as big of a positive impact on your guys' life as possible. But I know my days are numbered, and I've only got about 10 years left at best. And then I'm fearful that I don't know what the hell's going to happen. If anything, I want to get set up over there on Hawaii. I'll live on my wild pigs and my my pineapples and my guava and my fish that we'll take out of the ocean. And I don't even want to be a part of the money system anymore. Who knows? Kind of an odd statement. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is about once every 80, 90 years. Whole societies literally get turned on their heads for like a good decade or so. And it sure feels like our whole society is literally just being turned on its head right now. And this may go on for a good 10, 15 years easily. And, Titans, Durant, he was the guy who, never ever go to China. So, thank you for the good advice. I have no plans on heading over there. But, I lost my train of thought. That was funny. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. That's why I kind of hope we do. Like, I mean, whether we do or don't, I'll be okay. But I do hope we have a little extra frivolity at the end of this year. Just take a lot of profits off the table and go sit on the sidelines for a long time.
Well, I mean, we're already pretty much there. I mean, what are we, 60, 70, 80,000 or something on this silly thing? And the Ethereum is already like 4,000 or 5,000. So, I mean, hell. We are in the frivolity, so I hope you're enjoying the ride.
Definitely have been, yep.
Yeah. So, and the interesting thing about venture capital is it's so violent, eh? Like that LRC. I just think, like there's another name that's coming up with an airdrop here, and this reminds me of the 17 market because it was exactly like this, where you had these airdrops and shit that just came out of nowhere. And I remember specifically there was an airdrop done on, I think it was the Dash people. They airdropped the Pivx. I don't know whether you guys remember that. And I remember there was a guy on this site, and he actually fancied himself a ladies' man. And he went and bought $1,000 worth of Pivx at 100x. And he's like, Brian, I just made 100 G's. I'm going to take the summer, and I'm just going to seduce ladies all summer. So I don't know how that ended up. But how ironic. Did you guys see that this OMG? Now they're planning on, I don't know whether you guys have any of this. I mean, I've already got some doubles off here, so I got a bunch of free coins. But it turns out that they're doing airdrops and stuff like that, and people are all getting excited about it. And it just, like we said, that crazy LRC. All I know is I remember somebody said Chico Crypto Dude was excited about this, and all fucking hell broke loose on this damn thing. So this is the kind of in-market state that we're in. This only happens about once every 4 years. Here we are. It's happening now. So, I don't know. Enjoy it while it lasts, and hopefully you can grab one or two of these kind of names. And as I said, maybe you fancy yourself a ladies' man. Might be life-changing events. In fact, speaking of life-changing events, remember we were touting that LTO. So this guy looks like he's getting ready to do something. Look at that volume coming in. I don't know what's going on there, but I was kind of interested in this thing. This is another one of these I had to bail because it was Binance, and my country is kind of iffy about Binance right now. But that one looks like it's getting ready to go. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Let's see. Any questions over there from you guys? Actually, Joshua, you see the Joshua McGowan. Joshua's actually been a very good example. He came in, I think, probably around 2016, 2017, eh? And I think Joshua now, it would be interesting because he has been just working it, and Joshua should be getting paid big time through here. So he's actually, in fact, there was somebody I suggested you talk to, Joshua. It was about writing Pine script. Something about somebody in class today. So somebody's going to reach out to you. All right. Sorry, I got off topic there. I don't know. You having fun? It's kind of a mindless rant here. Sorry, guys. I don't know whether. I hope I'm giving you some value here tonight.
No, it's good. I mean, market doesn't look that great. I'm sure there's not a ton of great setups right now. So,
Litecoin. Actually, what's cool is it would be interesting to check in on our Somebody over there on YouTube is like, Litecoin, Litecoin. Check in on our thing, but I don't know where the hell I have it. Is it, not there, not there. Maybe over here. Well, I can't remember where the hell I put it, but I know I tweeted it out. Litecoin, I think, is now in the Moon Boys phase. So remember we had said a lot. I don't know whether you guys were even on the site when I did this. So this is actually a really good example of identifying what type of market participant you are, and then just living with your plan. Who is it over there asking about Litecoin? London Gabbardon. Holy Jesus. My eyes are going blurry. London Gabaldon. That's a cool name. I don't know who you are. Buy signal was right here. Traders got a trade. Cute little foggy boggy. Nice 2-to-1 setup. Kind of what I would say is a very typical trade. Remember I showed you that 50% rule on Bitcoin earlier? And then remember we showed you the 50% rule on Litecoin? That was basically that trade that we pointed out, or I guess it was the 50% level on Ethereum, beg your pardon. So that was that trade. So I guess those guys have been validated now. And then there's the Moon Boys. Moon Boys are still sitting out there. I think Moon Boys, this target's still perfectly valid. That's $589. And I remember Charlie came out and he said that on my birthday next year, not this 2021, but I think you remember he said it was like fall of 2022, he expected Litecoin to actually be trading at new all-time highs. So there's your backdrop. What trader are you? And then just live with the results. So, let's go see what it did. All right, so there's your daily chart. Oh, look at that. So actually they took it already up top there already. So, I suppose you can go some chaos levels here. Boom. Interesting. It's not terrible prognostication. Actually, you know what this will be interesting. Who can read my mind? What am I thinking when I see this image? Wow, that's fascinating. Who can read my mind?
Symmetry.
Oh, you're heading in the right direction.
This isn't a billiard ball thing, is it?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, let's see if I can show you that billiard ball theory. I love this because, I'm really big on chaos theory right now. So it's kind of like, what does chaos look like? Actually, there is a very orderly fashion to what chaos looks like. And it's kind of scary because I see the orderly fashion of this current human behavior on this planet, and it reminds me of chaos theory right now. These people, they act as though they're in control when they are clearly completely out of control. Brian going crazy. Yeah. Okay. So what did I want to show you? I wanted to show you billiard ball. I think I have it over here somewhere. And I probably should put it in the library somewhere. I never seem to remember it. Oh no, you know what? It's not even saved as that. I always make that mistake. I have to look up fractal. Hey, there it is. See, yeah. But doesn't that look like that? See that image right there? Right? Or maybe even this one's better, especially with the two dips. But anyway, this is theoretically what randomness looks like. And then that. Can you see that same image? Jeez, it looks almost identical. It's fascinating. I don't know what I don't know what the end game of this is. But can you guys see that? I mean, it almost looks to me like the exact middle is like just about right there. Maybe even right there, something like that. So up, up, down, down, up, 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 up. And then pivot, pivot, and then huge move, spike, spike. And it just seems like it's so symmetrical. I don't know what that means, but maybe what that means is that this entire consolidation period is finally coming to an end. And if that's the case, then I suppose, like we got these foggy buggies here, and I wouldn't be surprised if actually this whole range is some sort of bottom. Oh, interesting. Look how that lines up almost perfectly. Do you think that's an accident? I don't think so. Jesus. Maybe we should hold on to Charlie coins. They might be valuable down the road. So, I don't know. Somebody asked me to look at Litecoin. What else do you want me to... All right, there's a statement from Raphael.
Yeah, I think Sharky wanted you to look at EOS.
EOS. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about Litecoin. Like I said, it kind of like what I said about Bitcoin and stuff is, I think you can see that the place where you're supposed to buy is like down here, right? Interesting. Basically a full-on check of the lows again. So. And Charlie's always so difficult to trade. I noticed this. I tried to trade him through here, and I got chopped up. I did a great job on Ethereum, but I got chopped up by Charlie in here, bastard. So, I mean, it's higher highs and higher lows, but, I mean, what do you do here? I mean, this is like no man's land. There's nothing I can do there. I am along a whack of Charlie, so I'll just ride his coattails. But I certainly couldn't think about being a buyer here. I tried to take a shot against these lows. As you can see, it didn't set up very well at all for me there. There was a reload zone, but I got chopped up through here, which sucked horse cogs. Just the way it goes. Trader's life. I guess there was a profitable trade down there somewhere. I didn't do very well on that. Where it can go from here, frankly speaking, I would just say this looks like a trading range as far as I'm concerned. Top of the range, bottom of the range. We're sitting right about the middle. So there's not really much I can do on that. Fingers crossed if you're long. EOS, US dollar. I think I heard people getting bullish about this thing. Oh, that looks interesting. So you're right down at the bottom end of the range, so that's always a good sign. Nice double bottom breakout there, right? Oh, that's a pretty good level. Probably two. If anything, there's a really good example of your Wyckoff check right in there. Now working a higher markup process. Interesting how they brought it right back down to that level. Look at the double bottom right off that level as well. So, isn't this Richard Hart? Is that his?
That is Hex.
No,
Richard Hart does Hex.
EOS,
I mean,
is that a Chinese guy?
He might have done something else too, but I know Richard Hart through Hex, and then he did some weird pulse chain. Is it some weird clone of ETH?
EOS was Brock Pierce.
Brock
the
Pierce.
guy from Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. Oh, and there's like a bazillion, gazillion of these things out, isn't there?
Right. Yeah. Then they had a huge fundraise, and I don't think they really did too much with it. So they've got a bit of catch up to do with everything people are putting out there.
Yeah. I would say it looks like there was a hell of a nice bull run here. If you didn't get any free positions off, you're kind of why are you even trading this? If anything, this is a really good example of what happened in 17 is I saw a lot of kids up top here, they would send me messages. Hey, Brian, I'm a millionaire. Look at me. And then literally they just gave the whole damn thing right back. So painful. So, great analogy. You better take some profits, pay yourself on the way up. It's not a bad level to take a shot at here. It sure looks like there's a hell of a lot of traffic down in here. But, you know, if we start getting on the other side of this market rally and this thing and the market starts topping out and rolling over and this thing hasn't moved, well, then you got to ask yourself, like, is the clock running out? Do we have to go into another 2 or 3 year fucking tanking before these guys get their act together? I don't know. I can't comment on that. I suppose if you were thinking upside targets too as well here, we probably had pretty nice foggy boggy targets off of that low. So again, the feeling that there was a lot of reason to let coins go up top there. Yeah. So actually, and this is a really good example of that. You can kind of think of chaos theory as sort of Wyckoff checky too, where you have the breakout, it goes up, it hits the bifurcation level, and then here it asks itself, okay, so do I want to go to the next bifurcation level, or do I want to come back to the original breakout level? So in this case, you can see there was quite a wild gyration there, right? So it went up, then all the way back to the original breakout, and then up to the next one, and oh look, right back down to the original breakout. So, I don't know whether that helps or not, but if you're thinking about taking profits, I tell you, these chaos levels are very handy to keep in your back pocket. Suppose we have this W working here, so you could probably do one off of that. Boo-ba-da-boo. And what a surprise, look at that level, eh? When it hits it that hard, sort of like, ah, bastards. Look at that. Jesus. Oh, maybe it didn't even hit it. 645. What do we get up to higher? 642. So, does that mean it could still move a little bit higher? Yeah, maybe. It's not terrible. And I suppose if we can break out through there. This might also be another good example of that bifurcation. And actually, the better way to see the bifurcation is go like a log scale. So I'll go like that, then we'll go like that. So I think you could see here up to 1. And then here we go, okay, are we going up to the next one? Or do we have to come back down to the original breakout? I think that's what this had to happen here. Back down to the original breakout. We've broken out again. So we could probably do another one of these things. Now we're probably going to work our way up into here. So from here up to there. And the question is at this point, do we go 4.69 or do we come back down to the breakout? So I guess that's, whether you use this full range. This has been basically self-taught. I don't even know if I'm even doing this right. I'm just sort of feeling my way along here. But I think these are probably the levels I would feel comfortable with. I like to use the right-hand side of the W to give me these levels. Actually, interesting how that corresponds there, overlaps there. So I kind of like that thinking. So that's sort of what I would be thinking here. Don't know whether there's anything really to help us momentum-wise. Trying to turn back up. It's not terrible looking. There's W, so getting supportive. Looks like we broke out through the top of Sjord's Bollinger Bands in here, so you can see when they break out. Usually that's the start of some sort of rally. So it's looking encouraging, heading into this last couple months of this crypto bull market. I could see this thing work its way up. Maybe something like a weekly chart. There we go. So nice looking momentum on the weekly basis. Nice base. Nice turn. Not bad. I mean, it would be nice to see a nice big volume breakout here. Get the moving average, the OBV above that moving average. You know, wicks and tails like to be eaten. There's another interesting level to keep an eye on. Probably up against that 877. So even now, right? 4, probably good for a double. Once we get through this rally window, all bets are off, I think. So, I don't know. What do you think, Sharky? Does that help you at all? You probably could do a better job looking at this stuff than I could. To develop EOS and associated dApps in an open source, non-corporate environment. Hey, that's that Great Del Moody guy. Great Del Moody guy, are you a billionaire yet off all this crap that I've been teaching you? Supply of EOS is 1 billion.
That's almost that 20 to 30 million. Just 30 times it or 50 times it.
How many coins you mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting, you don't run across too many cryptocurrencies with that obey that the Bitcoin number. I find it fascinating. Why are there not more Bitcoins out there in the world? Why is it there's Bitcoin and then there's all these other fucking crazy ass things? Like, why aren't there more Bitcoins out there in the world? What am I missing here?
I mean, you already have it. You don't need more than one.
Yeah, but something doesn't make sense about all this, to be honest with you. I'm really surprised somebody didn't come along and say, I'm just going to clone Bitcoin, and we're just going to have 2 Bitcoins running side by side. Like, I just don't get it.
I mean, you've kind of seen that experiment with some of the hard forks, and they go nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere. That's probably a good description. But like BSV and BCH, they have like unlimited supply, don't they? Or the block size is really big or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously aren't the same protocol. They're hard forks for a reason.
Yeah. I guess just the point I would just make is, why doesn't somebody out and say, you know what, I'm going to make a Bitcoin 2. I'm going to make it exactly the same. No more than 21 million coins out ever. And I'm just going to go into competition with Bitcoin. I don't understand why more people don't do this. And you get these, like, even like Litecoin. Why did Charlie decide on the amount of coins? Why did he dilute the shit out of it? Or Ethereum, why did they do so many? So anyway, I'm just ranting here. It's an odd amusing that's been gone on in my head for a while. Is why is there only one Bitcoin? I don't get it. I must be missing something. So Great Del Moody says BCH has 21 million supply. BCH actually has the same protocol, but it has bigger blocks. Yeah.
It's a Bitcash is technically pretty much the same protocol. That's correct.
Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of odd? Roger Ver kind of just faded away there. That seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah. Hey, all of you guys that have been in Bitcoin for a while, right? You remember him giving YouTube the bird. That was funny, and that was a meme for such a long period of time. Fuck yeah! All right, so I'm not quite sure if we changed the world or not tonight, but sure was a fun conversation with the two of you. Always lively, always entertaining. I have been talking for about 7 or 8 hours today, so I think I am pretty much done.
Should we do our predictions quick?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Where's the little spreadsheet? I thought I had it up here. Over here? Hey, there we are. So, why don't we start over here? Ben, you, I think we're the only one who was accurate this past week. So, where are we going next, Ben?
Yeah, I'll stick at 1.
All right.
It worked for me last week.
Slow and steady wins the race. Nick, what are you thinking? You're gonna.
So the last 2 weeks, I've said -1. It's went up. So let's do it again.
All right. I think we got a trading system here.
I'm fine being wrong. Even the week before, I said a 1. It went down 7,000 points. So.
Well, considering that the way everybody shit their pants in the risk market, I'm gonna have to flip to a -1 here. I do not feel comfortable about what's going on here, so we'll see how it goes. So Nick and I are back bosom buddies again, and Ben's gonna be sitting there with the chicks on his knees, laughing at us, crying in our beers. Actually, did I ever tell you my favorite stock market cartoon I ever saw? This fat cat has got a tuxedo on. He's got 2 dancing girls on his legs, sitting in a big backed chair. They're drinking champagne. They're just having the best time. And the caption below it is, "And then we went after the stops." So only a trader would understand that reference. All right. Okay, guys. Well, that was fun. Thank you so much for your time and attention and joviality. Is that such a word? I don't know. Any closing thoughts, Nick? What's the closing thought for the week we should all ponder here? Nothing?
Don't eat yellow snow.
Don't eat. Is it starting to snow yet?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It probably will be soon once I'm in Minnesota, but
All right. Actually, you know, it's weird. Do you ever see that bear guy? What the hell's his name? Bear something. He's a British guy.
Bear Grylls?
Yeah, and he goes out into the wilderness and he's always drinking his piss to try and stay alive. I've seen like literally the only time I ever see the guy on TV, he's always drinking his piss trying to stay alive.
Seems like somebody who chose the job because he liked the activities associated with it. I don't know how else you'd be willing to do that all the time if you didn't like it in some level.
Yeah, like repeatedly. Oh, I remember when I had to drink my piss in Alaska. Oh, I remember when I had to do it in Puerto Rico. Oh man, I remember I had to like yeah. Man, maybe I ought to get a different profession. Sorry. Anyway, we have an expression: buy when it snows, sell when it goes. So I have actually been buying a lot of stock recently. And I'll tell you, I would be in there on the buy side on crypto. I'm just really leery about what's going to happen in the early new year. So having said that, all right. So we've got the sage advice from Nick. How about Ben? Ben, it probably doesn't snow too much in Florida, so probably don't have to worry too much about that. What's something that we can all think about through the week coming out of your noodle?
Yeah, don't trade opinions. Plan your trade and trade your plan.
Well, there you go. Wise advice. All right. Actually, I like that. On that note, why don't we leave it? Have yourselves a great week. Thank you all, gentlemen. And who took us out last week? Did Derek take us out last week? Anyway. Since Ben's been killing us here on the picks, I think he gets the honors. The only thing left for the three of us here to say to all you good people for the week is...
Bye for now.